Shedao Shai stood deep within the living ship Legacy of Torment. Tall and lean, with hooks and barbs at wrist, elbow, knee, and heel, the Yuuzhan Vong warrior had pulled himself up to his full height. A slender, fleshy umbilical connected his ship to the cognition hood he wore. Shedao Shai saw what the ship saw, and knew what it knew, there, orbiting Dubrillion. Only the void of space surrounded him, the planet a blue and green ball slowly spinning beneath his feet. This is what it feels like to be a god. Shedao Shai hesitated for a second, barely a heartbeat, letting fear of having blasphemed run through him. He smothered the fear, knowing that Yanyamka, the god known as the Slayer, would allow him his conceit as a reward for having successfully taken so many worlds from the infidels. The priests had told the Yuuzhan Vong that their new home was here in what the infidels called the New Republic, and Shedao Shai bore the hideous responsibility of leading the attack that would make the priest's prophecy a reality. Yuuzhan Vong scouts had located this galaxy over 50 years before. Later, agents had been infiltrated into it, and a whole generation had been trained to cleanse the galaxy of the infidels. Shedao Shai reached his mind into the memories stored within Legacy of Torment. He plucked one from a slave that had been employed as a soldier in the ongoing pacification of Dubrillion. The Chazrach had served the Yuuzhan Vong well in their wars. Some of the stocky reptilian humanoids were celebrated enough to be allowed into the warrior caste at its most basic levels. Through Chazrach eyes, Shedao Shai saw the soldiers move into narrow, dark recesses. The scrape of metal against stone alerted the Chazrach to danger. An infidel had hidden himself on a ledge above the passage's mouth. He swung a heavy metal bar which whistled down toward the Chazrach's head, but the slave parried it with his amphistaff, then lunged up with the weapon's sharpened tail. The staff punctured the meaty part of the man's leg, allowing salty blood to spurt out when the slave yanked it free. All around Shedao's Chazrach, other soldier slaves attacked and fought. Shrieking infidels collapsed in bloody heaps. The ambush had become a rout, with the infidels seeking escape, but the flood of Chazrach made that impossible. Then Shedao Shai felt the soothing sting of pain. It entered his back just above his right hip and cut toward his belly. He felt the Chazrach try to suppress the pain as he spun away from it, allowing the weapon that had stabbed him to slip free of the wound. Shedao Shai arched his back and tore the cognition hood from his head. It was not the Shai way to allow himself to be tainted. The Chazrach was given a clear path to salvation, yet turned from it. Pain was not to be rejected, but embraced. As Shedao Shai saw it, to reject pain was to deny the very nature of the universe. Birth was pain, death was pain, all change required pain. Personal weakness distanced people from pain, which was to be woven through one, so a being could become transcendent and transfigured into the very likeness of the gods themselves. Shedao Shai walked to one of the pitted chamber walls and caressed a pearlescent orb embedded in it. Color drained from the wall, rendering it transparent. Behind the wall, arranged in a pyramidal hierarchy, lay relics of Domenshai. Shedao Shai played a hand over the barrier between himself and the bones therein encased, pausing only at the open spot in the lower left corner. There he intended to enshrine the relics of Shai, his grandfather, a valiant warrior who had perished on a scouting mission to a world known to the infidels as Bimial. His sacrificial death resulting from attention to duty had brought great honor to Domenshai, and had in very large part made it possible, no, vital, that Shedao be chosen to lead the invasion. Shedao had dispatched 2 of his kin to recover the relics, but they failed in their mission. Nira and Shai had been slain by Jedi, the most perplexing of the infidels. They claim kinship with life, Shedao thought to himself, yet set themselves as above and outside life, using this mythical force to hide their wallowing in mechanistic blasphemy. The Yuuzhan Vong commander shook off a shiver, then turned away from the relics and crossed the chamber. He stroked a red bar, and triple-jointed appendages, 6 of them, unfolded from the wall. The upper 2 appendages exuded a leathery tentacle that encircled his wrists and snagged tight. The lower four similarly produced straps that trapped his ankles and thighs. He felt himself lifted by his wrists, with the lower arms resisting. Joints popped, and little explosions of pain shot down his arms, making his fingers tingle. His feet then left the floor. They came up above the height of his head, forcing him to crane his neck back so he could study the relics. Firmly settled in the embrace of pain, Shedao Shai began to struggle against his restraints. The creature that was the embrace of pain wrenched his limbs, so his shoulders turned one way and his pelvis another. Sheer torment raced through him, igniting every nerve fiber in his body. He could not begin to catalogue everything he felt. It came too much too quickly, overwhelming him with pain until all I am is pain. His true goal achieved, he let his lips peel back from jagged teeth and thought, "The infidels did everything they could to save themselves from this sort of pain. They divorced themselves from all reality. This is why they are an abomination that must be cleansed from this galaxy. We have come to give them the truth. Shriven in the crucible of pain, the fortunate will know salvation before they die. The others—" He paused as a hot jolt curved up his spine to burst in his skull. "The others will become as lifeless as the machines they embrace, and the gods will rejoice at the fulfillment of our destiny."